Good morning. Hi, I'm Deborah Hogan. I'm going to share with you something that's been a request, a topic for me to what I call lovingly rant about, and it is what do you get when you ask for guidance? I tell you, Judy requested this, and Judy, this is such a loaded subject. I have found so much what I call downloads, guidance coming in that I almost sat down to write it as if it was a Sunday sermon, but I decided not to do that. And it's funny because this morning I already made one video, and it was very early in the morning after my meditation and yoga, and I had my cup of coffee, and I found myself coughing a lot through it. And I went, oh, that's fine, excuse me. And I kept going. And then I listened to it before I posted it, and it didn't take. It would start and go about 3 minutes, stop, start over, go about 3 minutes, stop, start over, and go about 3 minutes. So that was guidance, preventing me from posting something that maybe would not have gone over very well. What do we get when we ask for guidance? That's an interesting to me way to say it, because what I have heard over and over again in the world of church and spiritual community is, how do I tell the difference between me and God? Now, God in the big realm, whatever language you're asking your angels, spirit, goddess, God, the divine, infinite consciousness, universal presence, the creator, whatever your label is for it, is perfect. But we're asking something that, first off, we have faith in. Because you wouldn't ask anybody's opinion about something unless you thought you had faith in their opinion, correct? So first off, there's this piece about, do you have faith in what you're asking? Do you believe that what you're asking exists? And if you don't, that takes years of practice. That's what meditation is about, and asking for the perfect parking space and having it show up for you, and asking to find $5 for the day and it's in a pocket. It's about practice before you get to the bigger things, the more important items maybe, although there is no size to a miracle, but we think there is. So it's always easier to ask for something that is simple for us to receive that than something that is what we feel in our ego linear mind is much larger. So it takes practice, and you have to trust what you're asking, don't you? Yeah, you have to trust what you're asking. So trust, practice, faith in what you're asking. Now, I find that guidance comes from a multitude of ways and avenues and directions. It's just amazing. I personally put my whole life in my faith in divine consciousness, in God, in wisdom, in spirit. That's it. That's guiding me all the time. But it comes in so many different ways. Many times it comes as a voice. I will literally hear a voice. I know it's not mine, and I listen to it. Many times it comes as just a knowing. Now, the example I can give with that is, I never have to time an egg. This is one of the things that has happened for me my entire life. I'll put eggs in. I want them hard boiled. Okay, I go off and do my thing, and all of a sudden I have a knowing, oh, the eggs are done. And I go and they're perfect. This happens all the time, every time I make them. I love it. They're never green, they're always perfect. That is not me. I'm not settling on the timing of it. So for me, the me and the divine is the me meaning the intellect, the mind, me being in the way of receiving. I never want to be in the way of receiving. And I do practice most days that I believe and have faith that that opens up all my God radio channel in order to receive. And in order for me as a human to get out of the way of being able to receive. So it comes in voice, It comes in a knowing, which also is a feeling, isn't it? It's about our heart centers. This is not about the mind. Yes, as I go to the third eye, funny, Deborah, but it's not about the mind. It's not about the intellect. It's not about what you know. In fact, it's about the total opposite of that. And so, if we're trying to figure something out and we're struggling with it, we're probably in the way. Okay. And so, what we want to do is practice clearing all our channels, whether we do that through meditation or yoga or breath exercises, but something where we clear. So, our cocoon, our entire energy field is open to receive. And we do that through how we feel. Trusting is a feeling, isn't it? Loving is a feeling. This is a question that is so vast. It's incredible when you think about it. So it takes practice, it takes trust. I believe it takes a commitment. And I believe that sometimes we'll hear or see movies and know people who are struggling and struggling and struggling. And then they have that moment where they're on their knees, right? They're on their knees, they're broken open, and they hear and they feel. And that's it. But they had to get on their knees and go through the struggle to get to the place where what? Where they would surrender. So surrendering means that we're surrendering from our mind, our ego, our fear-based humanhood, which can ignore the divine presence, and we're ready to receive. So I've heard, I feel, and I also can be so aware of when something's getting in the way of something and not to force it. Now, I know that because I have forced it through the years, and it's always ended up being something that wasn't positive for me. It wasn't a positive thing. As much as my intellect thought it was a good idea, or my intellect and my mind and my thinking or my Deborah-ness thought that it was probably a positive thing to do, things would come up to stop it. Maybe I couldn't get hold of someone on the phone. Maybe it was hard to make an appointment, but I pushed anyways. Maybe the morning I was going to go, my car broke down. I remember one time I used to go see Amma all the time. And one year I got my car to go see Amma, and I'm sitting there in my car before I drive, go, Divine Mother, Ma, so excited, looking forward to seeing you in the flesh again, blah, blah, blah. Protect me on this drive, and I love you. See you in a while. I had a, I had three, I think before I was 5 miles from the house, three episodes of almost car accidents. I didn't push it. I went, okay, Mom, not my day. I turned around and went home. So sometimes trying to push through something. Another example I can give of that is I in my experience as a minister, and I've married well over 200 couples, probably, if I counted them all in 35 years or so, um, that if something goes wrong in the planning of the wedding, I mean, something big that is an obvious, not like, oh, the flowers can't make it, but something major, or something that God's trying to saying, this isn't the perfect lineup for you. This isn't in your highest and best to do this. I have seen things happen at rehearsal dinners. I've seen things happen during the planning of something. I've seen I've seen people have doubts and go through with it anyways, and I've talked directly to them and said how I feel and what I see about this, and they've chosen to go through it anyways. Every one of those experiences has ended up in either a divorce and due to something big had to happen in order to get the spouse who I had spoken with and warned, or investigated the idea of, do you know this is happening and you see this in him and you still want to go through it? And then, and or a very unhappy long-term marriage due to people having children and they're staying in it. But every one of these weddings and wedding planning had something that someone could take as divine intervention and guidance, because guidance is something that we feel is coming from God, coming from angels, coming from spirit, whatever your language is. And sometimes it has to come in the linear form in order for us to get it. Years ago, one of the first classes that I offered, it was at Unity, and it was about prayer. So whether it was a class or not, I forget, probably just a group. And we were doing a group, and I was leading people in different ways to pray. And I remember someone saying to me, "So, Deborah, like, how come you always hear? Like, you always get guidance. How come it always works for you and doesn't work for me?" And my answer was simple: because I expect it to. Very simple answer, and very true, and true to this day. I expect that God has my back. I expect and believe in and have faith that there is a power greater than I that helps me, that guides me all the time. As long as I keep the avenues clear, which means I'm coming from love, not from fear, I'm trusting, then somehow a message of some kind can come to me through knowing, feeling, hearing. Sometimes they come in dreams. Sometimes, very often, it's animal totems for me. I have a whole chapter in my book about how animal totems guide me constantly. They will come to me in my dreams, or they come to me in real life. And it's just amazing that I will ask for guidance from God, and lo and behold, an animal I've never seen before comes to my yard. It happened with a possum a few years ago. I'd never seen a possum before. It came right to me. I saw it walk up the driveway, come to the back. I was at the doorway and just stand there. And it looked at me and I looked at it, and then it left the same way it came in. I've never seen it since, never saw it before. But the message that's the spiritual message of that animal was an exact answer for the question that I had asked guidance for that day. We have to believe, first off, that guidance even exists, don't we? Or we fall on our knees and crack open and surrender then. But when we believe that there is a power and presence in the universe, no matter what you call it, that is infinite wisdom and does have our backs, then we're going to receive guidance. It can be very quiet. It can be very subtle. Again, it can be a feeling. It can be waking up one day and just going, "Oh, I think I'll do that." And the mind will go, "But that wasn't on your day planner, dear." And the mind will say, "Well, you really, you had some other things you wanted to do." And the mind will say, "But you've never done anything like that before, ever. Why do you want to do it now?" Instead of just saying, "Okay, I'll go do that. Okay, I'll go there." How many times do I do that? I and I learned this from a teacher of mine many years ago. She used to say, "If I'm told to drive somewhere, I just go." And I've adapted that. If I'm told to go somewhere, I just go. And always someone is brought to me. Always someone will sit beside me. This happens over and over again. Always someone will sit there who's in need, who wants to talk, who has an issue. And because my heart is open, they open. And it doesn't matter, even when I'm on vacation, I'm open. I will help. I will do whatever I can. It always happens. And I think some ways I can say, "Dear God, if this is possible, I would love blah, blah, blah. I would love to be a purpose for you today, especially for today." I'm in a stage in my life path where I do most mornings, and I'll just decide, what's the feeling that I have today? And I'll say, the other day I said, "I really want to have an intimate, loving moment with someone. Like, I just bring me where I can have that, or thank you for this today. I'm going to claim this today. Today is a day that I'm going to have a really soulful connection with someone. I had no idea who it would be, and it happened. And you know what? When it happened, I didn't even remember that I had asked for it. Not till that evening. And I went, oh my God, that was it. That was it. And someone in town had been on vacation, and I was so happy they were back to work. And I went to where they work, and I was so happy to see them. I said, I'm so happy you had a great vacation, but you were gone way too long for me. And we started talking, and we had this hug fest as we were in the parking lot. He walked me to my car, and we love each other. It's like I think we've been best friends for lifetimes before, but we laugh about it. And it was just this, I really adore you. I really love you. I care deeply about you. And it was just this high, high, high vibration of connection and joy. And I came home and I went, oh my God, that was it. And I had come home and said to my husband, I saw so and so. It was so sweet. He gave me this, blah, blah, blah. And it was just lovely. I had claimed it for that day. So, Judy, am I touching upon things that you were curious about? If not, be more specific and let me know. Um, I believe that any guidance from the divine will always feel good to your heart. God's never gonna direct you to hurt another person. God's never gonna direct you to harm yourself. It's always going to be something positive. And in order to trust, we practice that. And I like the parking space thing. Okay, angels, I need a parking space right downtown near the bagel shop. There it is. And you kind of practice with fun things that aren't a matter of critical care in your life, but they're fun and you build up. You know, I always call it the faith muscle. You build it up so it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And so you're trusting more and more and more, and you're able to receive guidance. Okay, everybody, I hope that is helpful. If it's not, please let me know. If you have a more specific question, I would be happy to attempt to answer it for you to the best of my awareness. Have a beautiful day out there. Bye.